Now I'm sure you want to completely turn your life around. And how can you do that? Leave that environment that you find yourself in, that you've been probably comfortably living in for possibly years. And what are you doing right now? How are you living? If you really thought deeply about it, there's probably so many things that you're doing wrong. If something is not going right in your life, and that's because you're living not in the right way. So I say, turn your life around completely by making different choices. Leave that environment. Make that change as big as possible. I made that change. It was really big. I went from living in Poland, and I, never really liked living in Poland, to be honest with you. But I was born there, so that's how it turned out. I could have left that environment way earlier, but the problem is we, as humans, we prefer staying in the comfort zone. Even though deep inside we might know it doesn't really serve us, that we want something else, most of us are still staying in the comfort zone because, well, it is comfortable. To the subconscious mind, it's the known, and it prefers you to stay in that comfort zone because of that. That's all it knows. That's all that your subconscious mind knows. So it's just gonna be urging you to stay there wherever you are in life. So yes, again, I left Poland, and now I'm in Italy, working on a ship as a deck crew. Just a complete change of my life. Just completely turned around 180 degrees. Because how was I living in Poland? What was I doing? Most of all those past years, my life was basically just sitting at home, playing games, being as unproductive as possible. That's about it. I couldn't even get myself to be productive in any way because I was not in the right environment. My perspective, it was really hard to change my perspective by doing the same things over and over again. Just like many law of attraction teachers urge you to take action, well, I say that you take action as well. Make it as big as possible. I made it absolutely huge because, from what I just said, to working here on the ship, dude, I work here so many hours, like 13, 14, depends on the day. But even so, at first it was uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. But now after a month, I'm totally used to it. And I don't want to go back to my old life. But guess what? I don't even pay attention to this, what you might consider a negative thing, which is just working so much. Instead, my perspective changed completely because I took that big action. And now I'm thinking, look at this beautiful, luxurious ship that you're working on. Look at this beautiful country that you're in. Look at these people, they're so nice. Italians are just great people in my opinion. They're just so nice. They approach you, talk to you. There's this like bromance vibe type of thing going on between guys. Just completely different compared to what's happening in my country. The people there, well, completely different type. Everybody's got their own paradigm. Nations also have their paradigms. Well, I like the Italian one. So anyway, a completely different life now. And I started, because of making this change, I started looking at things completely differently. Just completely differently. I couldn't really enjoy living at all. I had a real hard time appreciating things in my life as I was living that old life. But now here, I appreciate all these things around. As small as they are, I still appreciate them. And many people might just say, well, so what? What is so special about these people? What is so special about this even country? And just keep complaining. I don't look at the negatives. I don't complain about the negatives like all the hours that I work. I already got used to it and I say, whatever. I prefer to look at the positives. And there's so many positives now. Now, surely, even about my old life, even in my old life, I could see positives. But from that perspective, even though they were positives, even though there were positives, I couldn't see them. And now I'm here, very different environment, and I just can see easily all these things that I could be grateful for. So I say to you, make that change as big as possible. The bigger it is, the more you will change. You're just gonna be forced to change because you're in a completely different environment. But you might think, well, okay, getting this job is probably hard, right? For example, if let's say you want to do the same thing that I do, working on a ship. Well, it depends on your perspective. I was really frustrated, desperate to get any job at all a few months back. And for 6 months, I couldn't find anything at all. Because I was frustrated. I was not letting go. I was really forcing that. And now eventually I got to this point where I just didn't care anymore. I wanted this job and I said to myself, okay, I can totally have it. I can totally go to Italy. And that's what happened. Finally let go. I found myself here. And because of making this big change, taking this big action, taking this leap of faith, stepping outside of this comfort zone, I'm a totally different guy. And now from this point forward, moving on, things can only get better. And let me tell you something as well, because my energy shifted completely. I started manifesting so many things so effortlessly. For example, like, there's this boss that we have. It's a new guy. And at first he was keeping us longer than the last one at work. I thought that was completely unnecessary because we already had everything done pretty much that we had to do. But just for the sake of rules or whatever, I guess, he kept us longer than usually. And today and yesterday, twice in a row already, I say to myself, okay, I'm just simply gonna assume that, I don't know why he would do this, but I simply assume that he's just gonna let us go earlier. Guess what? Twice. It happened. Exactly this happened. Just manifesting things this easily because my vibration shifted completely. There's been other things too. I met a girl here, for example, and I wanted to go out with her, but for some reason there was another guy who wanted to come along. And let's say it was like a friendly environment, so. But I had this idea that I wanted only us to go out together, and that this guy wouldn't come along. So I simply assumed, okay, it seemed ridiculous that it would happen, but it did happen. I simply assumed that even though the guy wanted to go out as well, that he wasn't going to come around. And it happened. Exactly that happened, and we went outside to the city by ourselves. And things just manifest this easily because your energy changes as you make a big change in your life. So I urge you, just do this. Make it as big as you can. I had an opportunity, but well, I also had to manifest it in the first place. From this less positive place, I still was able to manifest it. At first, if you're not really happy, satisfied, just let go. Just let go of whatever it is that you want to achieve. You want a specific job, for example, a bro like me. Just let it go. Do what needs to be done to get it, but don't obsess over it, and you'll get it. Just simply assume you're gonna get it. And then when you're able to make this big change, you'll just make it. You'll just commit to it then. Remember about being patient with whatever that is. And things will just change. Your vibration is just gonna change completely because it's a completely new, different environment. It has to be that way. There's no other way, as far as I'm concerned. Also, well, not only my energy changed, but also my behavior changed. And outside of work, the things that I do, I decided to commit to doing meditations every day. So even though I have little time, I go outside, I vacuum the floor, I mop the floor, for example, and I, even on the move, do these meditations. Then I go back to the cabin. Once again, I do the meditations. Well, I have the luxury to actually listen to music at work, so that's another thing that I can be grateful for. So anyway, like I was saying, make this change as big as possible. Everything's gonna change then. I promise you that I'm speaking from example. You know how negative I used to be when I was still in Poland? And I took this leap of faith. Here I am. And I'm just a completely different guy. A completely different guy. So anyway, just do that. Peace.